Welcome, everyone. Okay, Parsha's Vayeira. We are starting the Netivot Shalom in Parsha Vayeira, the third Ma'amar. That starts on Kuf Gimel. No, I'm sorry. The fourth Ma'amar that starts in Kuf Hey, 105. Okay, so the fourth Ma'amar, the fourth essay of the Netivot Shalom. So we know that Avram Avinu is his midah, his attribute, his main attribute that he is known by is chesed, kindness. And we see that in this portion of Vayeira, this Sedra, all the amazing details and devotion that Avram did for other people in his chesed was like explained here in this week's parsha. In the beginning, it starts talking about his unbelievable way of inviting somebody, not only in how he did it, but in what he did for them. And let's go through it. So we it's basically about 8 different things over here in this parsha that we see Avram Avinu's amazing chesed, and we're going to go through them. The first is that when Avram Avinu saw the people that he was going to, it was actually malachim, it was angels, but when he saw them, as Rashi explains, and Chazal say that they looked like Arabs to him, they were lowly people. They were not somebody of any importance, just lowly people. But even so, he ran to them. So number one, they're not just anybody or mediocre or special. They're lowly people. And on top of that, he went and bowed down to them. He ran to them, right? And he did it with such diligence. He to this mitzvah. And the third thing is what we see. So and the Torah actually testifies how fast he did it, because the Torah says the 3 times the word vayimaher or mahari that he said, do quickly. He went quickly, and he also ran. Okay, the Torah is actually testifying that he ran. Now that's amazing. But on top of that, even for any person, but especially for an older person, but on top of that, he was a sick person, right? Because this is the 3rd day after the bris milah. It was extremely painful, right? And then the 4th thing is, what did he make for them? He actually wanted them to have the best meat, so he, instead of giving them a good piece of, any other part of the meat, he gave them the tongue. But he didn't just give them the tongue. He could have, tongue is quite big. Right? I don't think I could finish one tongue for myself. But he, especially a cow's tongue, right? But he shechted 3 different cows just so that each one has its own tongue, his own tongue. So it's amazing. It's really going above and beyond when it comes to kindness. And then the 5th thing is that he said to Hashem, please don't, I said, Alna savar mi'al avdecha. Please do not pass by me, meaning wait for me here. That even though I'm about to go to deal with guests, and Hashem, please wait for me. He was in the middle of talking to Hashem. So Chazal tell us from this that hachnasas archim, serving our guests, is actually greater than accepting the Shekhinah, than talking to Hashem, right? And not only anybody accepting and being together with Hashem, it was Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, his connection to Hashem was Lemala mikol musag. It's higher and greater than any concept that we have. But still, he went ahead to accept the guest, and he asked Hashem to wait. So that was the sixth thing. The seventh thing is that we see later on in the Parsha, it talks about Sodom. Okay? And Hashem said, should I cover from Avram what I'm going to do? But Avram is going to be this great nation. Avram is going to be this great nation and strong nation, and all the nations of the world will be blessed through him. And then the next pasuk says, "Ki yadati v'leman asher yitzav es banav v'espeis v'achrav v'shom derech Hashem la'asos tzedakah mishpat leman havi Hashem al Avraham eis asher diber alav." That Hashem knows. Hashem is saying that He knows that that Avraham Avinu is going to command to his children that they should keep the ways of Hashem, to do the righteous and proper things. And that's the way that Hashem is going to be able to give him whatever he promised him. So Hashem starts talking to Avram about the Sodom problem, the problem with Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Sodom and Amorah. So he tells him that he's going to go ahead and destroy it. So in Pasuk Chav Gimel, in Perek Yud Ches, it says, "Vayigash Avram b'vayomer ha'af tispet tzadikim rasha." Right? Avram came to, he got closer to Hashem, whatever that means, and he said, are you gonna? Is Hashem gonna actually go ahead and put a tzaddik together with a rasha? Right? Is that meaning that if Hashem has to destroy, He's not going to destroy the tzaddik? So then he starts going through this whole interaction with Hashem in regards to if there are 50, that means, if there are 50 righteous people in the whole 5 towns that were supposed to be destroyed, right? So each one has 10. In each, that means that's why we have at least 10 people who are supposed to learn in every city, so because that saves the city, right? So same thing over here. There's 5. If there was 10 righteous people in each city, so then are you going to still save the city or destroy it even with these 10 tzaddikim? And he starts saying that this, Hashem is the judge of the whole land. He's going to do justice, and therefore he's not going to go ahead and destroy a tzaddik, a righteous person, together with a wicked person. And then Hashem, goes ahead and says, "No, I won't do that." Right? And he keeps on davening for it, and this goes on. The Torah could have just said, Hashem, Avram davened for him. And that's it. Avram davened for the people of Sodom and Amorah, and that's it. But instead, the Torah goes into this whole conversation that they had, which we know that there are many conversations that Hashem speaks with our forefathers and Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron and Yosef HaTzadik and all these, but not everyone was recorded in the Torah. Here, the Torah records, and there's I believe 11 psukim, or maybe 13 psukim, but it's it's unbelievable. It's 11 psukim. Okay, it's 11 psukim, right? That means 11 verses, 11 sentences. When the Torah could have just said it in one sentence. Avram was davening for the people, and Hashem agreed with what he said, and whatever. You know what I mean? Because Hashem was agreeing that if there was a tzaddik, but no, the Torah has to go through each and every detail of how Avram says that I'm just dust and ash. I'm maybe there won't be 50, maybe there will only be 5, can you be considered as the 10th one for each one of the city? So there's 9, 9, 9, 9, so it's 45. Or if there's only 40, where you save the 4 cities, and so on and so forth, 30, and down to 20. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but yet the Torah goes through even down to 10. So it's all these psukim, and I actually count. I didn't count the letters, but I counted the words. And if you don't count the last pasuk, which I think it should be counted, because the last pasuk is Vayelech Hashem ka'asher kilo ledaber. Hashem went after he finished speaking El Avram to Avram. Avram shavlam koma, and Avram went back to his place. So that pasuk is the closing of this whole conversation. So I think that should be included. But even if you don't include that, it's a little over 150 psukim. 150 words, I'm sorry. 150 words. 150 words is, at minimum, we're talking about 400 letters. Okay? We know every letter in the Torah, if one letter is miswritten, it's written in the wrong way, and a Zion looks like a Vav, then the whole Torah is puzzle. So every single letter is so important, such great, everything is so vital. So why is the Torah spending so much time on this? And one of the reasons we see is because of the righteousness of Abraham. Because if you think about it, Avram Avinu, what was he doing? He was starting the world of Tikkun Olam, which is unfortunately very loosely translated as fixing the world in a way of the environment and things like that, which that is not what Tikkun Olam is, although taking care of the environment is very nice. But Tikkun Olam is actually fixing the problem that Adam Harishon created when he not only, the main part was not only eating from the Eitz Hadas, but the problem was the fact that he didn't own up to it, and Chava didn't own up to it, right? So Avram had to come to the world to fix it. And so here it is that Avram is starting. How is he starting it? Through chesed. That's his midah. Chesed is kindness. That's his midah, right? We have other shepherds of Klal Yisrael did it in different, like Yitzchak did it in Gevurah, and Yaakov did it in Tiferes, and each one had their own job to do to fix the world, right? Ending with David HaMelech with Malchus, right? However, this would be the fact that Avram Avinu heard that Sodom and Amorah is going to be destroyed. He should have been elated, because imagine if you are starting a company and you're the only one that has this business, and you are like it's yours, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes and does something against it, right? And you find out that they're going and they're actually about to push it regal. How do you say that? They go bankrupt. Okay, they go bankrupt, right? You got to be a little bit happy inside that you're going to be the only one now. Everybody's going to come to you for this business, and that's exactly what was going on here. Sodom and Amorah and the cities, they were actually against kindness in every way. They wanted to hurt people instead of doing kindness for them. So this is right up his alley. He could have just said, "Okay, Hashem, thank you," but instead, not only was he not okay with it, and he was not happy and dancing, he was actually diving to Hashem and pleading Hashem to save them, to save those people that are going to go against him and be a threat to what he stood for. That was the unbelievable midah of Avram Avinu. And then we see, Avram says, Vayita Eshel Bever Sheva, that Avram Avinu, the 8th thing is that Avram Avinu planted an Eshel, like a tree, right, in Beersheba. And the Chazal say, what does this mean, planting the tree? It means that he did a pundak lachsanya. He made an inn for people to have a place to be, which Rashi explains, Eshel stands for Achila, Shtia, and Levia. Eating, drinking, some say Shin can also be Shena, sleeping, right? Because, eating can also include drinking. But Achila, basically Rashi says, Achila, Shtia, and Levia, Eshel means eating, drinking, and escorting them. Okay? So therefore, he made this spring he created this spring in order to be able to just flow, chesed should flow from it. But he was 99 years old at the time. So it's most probable that Avraham Avinu was doing chesed beforehand. So why all of a sudden is only now the time that the Torah goes ahead and explains the chesed? Why not before? We had the whole Parsha's Lech to talk about his chesed. And not only that, tell a little story that happened to my Rebbitzin and myself, that back when we were in Madison, Wisconsin, campus rabbi and Rebbitzin, we usually, prepared for on a regular Shabbos, it was like 30 people would come. Very, very seldom was it more than 30, 35 people. But a lot of times, when it came to Rosh Hashanah, it could be up to 60 people, right? Out of the 5,000 Jews there was 44,000 students on campus and about 5,000 Jews. And, Rosh Hashanah, we prepared a lot. And so one Rosh Hashanah, we prepared for like 60 people. 2 students came. 2 students. And we were like devastated. And we, all the work and all the, schlepping and all the cooking, and my wife did most of the work of the cooking. And it's like for nothing. And my nephew, Rabbi Aaron Yechiel Vogel, he told me a beautiful story that actually gave us encouragement, chizuk. He said, Rabbi, in the name of official Shachter, he said, he was asking us how Rosh Hashanah was. We were saying it wasn't so good. So I said, and he told me that Rav Shvishal Shachter said, of all the times that Avram Avinu did chesed, like he did a lot of chesed, right? Why did the Torah pick a time where the people didn't eat? Like, bottom line, they didn't eat anything. So out of all the different times that he did it, they have to pick that. Let the Torah pick all the other times that he did eat, and they actually did eat. So he said that the Torah is actually telling us that has nothing to do with the result. We're not in the results department. We're in the effort department. And the fact that and it gave us a lot of chizuk because she did the work, right? We did the work, and that's what Hashem wanted. They came, they didn't come, they ate, they didn't eat, makes no difference. The work was done, and that's what Hashem cares about. And we put our part. The results are not up to us. And that's the way we have to live our lives, knowing that Hashem grades us on efforts, not on results. Anyway, so continuing on over here, Avram Avinu was, and I believe this is my svara. I don't know. I didn't speak to my Rabbi about it, I don't think, but I think that it could be very much the truth. If you think about Avram Avinu, he was called an Ivri. Ivri meaning a Hebrew, but it really doesn't mean a Hebrew. It means, that just became from the language, but Ivri means the other side. Everybody was on one side, and Avram was on the other side. Everybody was on the idol worshipping side, and Avram was on the monotheistic side. And therefore, if you think about it, does it make sense that Avram Avinu, being the fact that he was, a person who actually does chesed, and is always, because I originally thought that Avram Avinu was someone that was innately chesed oriented. He always wanted to do kindness. That's what I always thought. And after teaching years and years, I thought maybe he's not so true, because if he was an outsider, he had the ability to go against his parents, to go against his siblings, to go against his community, and be on the other side of everyone, then maybe he wasn't such a social butterfly that really wanted to do kindness. Maybe he was able to have that strength, that inner strength, to be able to go on one side, and he was really, an odd person of the group, and therefore this doesn't, this actually, I believe, magnifies Avram's chesed, because if you think that way, that Avram Avinu was not such a social butterfly, and he was not somebody that innately had chesed in him, but he realized that now he's Hashem's advertisement in this world. He's Hashem's marketer, right, for monotheistic life and not idol worship. So therefore, had he been just this, person on the outside and not doing anything, then they'd say he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. There's like he's the only one that's doing, that's worshiping this one God that we can't see, right? Who is he anymore? But once he starts doing chesed for them, and he's giving them so much, they're actually benefiting from his kindness, so they can't speak against him. And therefore, I feel that Avram Avinu went ahead and went against his nature to be able to be the social butterfly and to be able to run to do chesed, so that this way he could be creating a Kiddush Hashem, constantly sanctifying God's name, because people are going to be thanking him, and he says, no, don't thank me, it's all from God, right? But this is the way, this was his conduit to do it. Otherwise, they would think of him as a weirdo. So, moving on with the Netivot Shalom, Rav Moshe Midulina, who was one of the Talmud of the Baal Shem, he says that it's in a sefer called Divrei Moshe, and he says that anyone who is really coming for the right thing, he wants to get closer to Hashem, and he knows that it's really what's happening is that each and every mitzvah that a Jew fulfills, even if it's a mitzvah that is physical mitzvah, like having a bracha, making a bracha on food, or making an after bracha on food is midaraisa, right? So even as physical, what's happening is he's actually bringing holiness to the world from the source and the root of the mitzvah. Like, let's say, mitzvah of kibbud av v'aim, honoring our parents, right? So the shoresh of that mitzvah, it's coming down from Shemayim. When I am fulfilling that mitzvah, and then therefore the great mochin is going to come in, and I'm going to go ahead and, even though I'm only doing a physical mitzvah of giving my mother what she needs, or serving her, or whatever these are physical mitzvah, then that is a very high kedusha is coming from that. It's like I am taking kedusha and bringing kedusha into the world with that. However, that's only number one if I am commanded and doing a mitzvah, and also I have to do it with the proper thoughts that I'm doing it for a mitzvah. If I'm not thinking it that I'm doing it for a mitzvah, it's a nice thing, but it's not actually bringing that holiness down. So, and that's what we say in when we do a mitzvah, we say Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvah sav v'tzivanu, that Hashem commanded us with His. He actually made us holy with His commandments to command us to do this thing. That's how we get holiness. So we see from this, if we look at it, when was all this chesed explained by Avram Avinu and how he did it? It was only after he did the bris milah. Before the bris milah, nothing. Only after the bris milah. So therefore, we look at the pasuk when Hashem says to Avram, "Hisalech lefanai v'hei tamim," go in front of me and be pure, be whole, and that once, as long as you still have psolet, something that's bad within you, then you can't, be complete. Once he removed the arla, once he removed that extra flesh, right? Then he became complete, and then he became that he's part of God itself. And we also know that in the Tanchuma it said that every time that before Avram Avinu did the bris milah, every single time that Hashem spoke to him, he fell down, and then he had to go ahead and pick himself up. But after he did the bris milah, then he was able to stand, even when Hashem was speaking to him. So we see from over here is that the avoda, the whole service of Avram with Tikkun Olam, to be able to fix the world by fixing the problem that Adam Rishon did, was starting with Chesed. It starts with Avram Avinu because it starts with Chesed. Chesed is love, it's kindness, it's all from Hashem, and we are connecting to Hashem through this. So in order to be able to go ahead and do it in a proper way and to start Tikkun Olam, that's what had to be done. So what is the root of Chesed? It's loving Hashem. Because all the loves that we have, whether it's love of Torah, love of Jews, it's these are ways to get closer to loving Hashem. What is a segula, a way to be able to love Hashem? Love every Jew, love his children. What is a way to love Hashem? To love his Torah. It's all the ways to love Hashem. And so the bottom line is loving Hashem. So therefore, this was the time that not only the Torah talks about it, but actually Avram started his chesed in a more powerful way, doing these things like, giving each person a whole tongue, having to shech 3 different cows for that. That was this, a kindness that I don't think anybody ever did besides Avram Avinu. So it was like way beyond any concept that we can imagine, right? But it only started after Avram did bris milah, because that's when it all counted. Once he was plugged in to this powerful kedusha, because he did the bris milah, he had his circumcision already. Therefore, then was the time that it all counted. It all started. It was actually plugged in. So therefore, the last question that the Netivot Shalom has, which is a very beautiful question, he says, the nisayon, which we think is possibly the most difficult nisayon that Avram Avinu had, Hashem tells him that no, Yishmael is not going to be your son. It's only Yitzchak. Avram loved both of them, right? And not only that, Yishmael is not going to be, meaning he's your son, but he's not going to be your son as in your progeny to go further. All your descendants are going to come from Yitzchak. That's going to be considered. So therefore, he's telling him to kill him even before he gets married. So he's going ahead and doing this like, God, you promised me it's only through him, and now you're telling me to kill him before he has children. What's going on? So Avram Avinu didn't question at all. He went ahead and he did it. And we see from this that it shouldn't be the opposite. If his midah of chesed, if that's his attribute, kindness, so it should be, let's test Avram in kindness. How far is his kindness going to go? So not to kill him. Why are we doing the opposite? Why are we saying to do something that's so against every fiber of Avram's being that he turned into totally a kindness machine? Why is Hashem going against that? And the answer that Netivot Shalom says is beautiful. He says that if we know and understand that really the whole kindness that we're doing is all for Hashem, and everything is really the love that we have for our children is loving Hashem. The love we have for every Jew is loving Hashem. The love we have for Torah is loving Hashem. So then therefore, if Hashem wants something, then that's the love of Hashem, even though it's against all logic. So by him going ahead and going to shecht his son, even though it was against all logic, right? That was loving Hashem, and that was the test. Are you going to go ahead and do the kindness, which is the bottom line of the kindness is love, and the bottom of all love is Hashem, the foundation of it. So therefore, that was what Avram Avinu actually accomplished with this amazingly difficult test, and which actually is a merit for us. And we mention it all the time when we are being judged by God. So, just to close up what the Netivot Shalom is saying, how does that relate to us? So the Netivot Shalom says that the Torah with this is teaching each and every Jew that just like there is the entire world, there is actually we have to do, the Jews have to fulfill Tikkun Olam, fixing the problem that we had. So we have to realize it's not just in the entire world, it's also in our world, meaning each and every Jew is like his own world. It's like when a person saves a Jew, he's like saving the world, right? So therefore, just like the world has a Tikkun Olam, so too each person has Tikkun Olam, meaning that just like Tikkun Olam started with Chesed, so too we have to start with Chesed. Our bottom line, our foundation of our jobs is to give Chesed, to do kindness to other Jews. And therefore we're going to come from there to Avas Torah, Avas Hashem, like loving Torah, loving Hashem, because as the Tehillim in Perak Peites, in Kapil Peites, it says, Ki Amarti Olam Chesed Yibana, because I said that the world is built on Chesed, right? Or you can say it's forever, right? Olam also can mean forever. So the whole, like it says later on in Tehillim, it says, Chastecha Hashem Malei Haaretz, that the kindness of Hashem is filling the world. So who are the ones that are representatives of the kindness of Hashem? The representatives of Hashem altogether is the Jews. That the world, the individual world, and also the general world of the universe and everything is all standing on kindness and love. And that's what the Torah is coming to teach us, that the beginning of actually fulfilling our job in this world starts with Chesed. And as Hashem Yisbarach, we should always zocha to fulfill this in the most powerful way, in the most true way, and really make Hashem proud of us, and really give it nachas ruach to Hashem, and only we should be zocha. Have a wonderful week and have a wonderful Shabbos. Bezrat Hashem, we'll see you next week.